The day the truth came out was the day my world split in two. I had always believed that family was the one thing you could count on, even when the rest of the world turned against you. Friends might drift away, jobs might come and go, but family, they were supposed to be your anchor. That's what I thought. That's what I clung to, until the day I learned just how wrong I could be. It was a chilly autumn afternoon when the first cracks appeared. I was in the kitchen, stirring a pot of soup, when my phone buzzed with a message from my cousin Emily. Emily and I had been close since childhood. She was my confidant, my weekend shopping partner, the one person I could always talk to when things got rough. Her text was short, but it sent my heart racing. "We need to talk. It's about Daniel." Daniel, my younger brother. My sweet, ambitious, endlessly charming brother who could talk his way out of anything. Growing up, I'd protected him from bullies, from Mom's harsh scolding, from his own bad decisions. I never thought I'd need protection from him. I called Emily right away, but she didn't answer. Instead, she sent me an address. The first blow. I drove there in a haze, the autumn leaves blurring into streaks of red and gold as my mind spiraled with possibilities. When I arrived, Emily was sitting in her car outside a small cafe. She looked pale, almost sick. "I didn't know how else to tell you," she said as I slid into the passenger seat. "But you need to see this for yourself." She handed me a manila envelope. Inside were printed screenshots, emails, text messages. All from Daniel. All about me. I skimmed through them, my pulse pounding in my ears. He had been talking to Uncle Richard, the uncle who had been fighting Mom over Grandpa's will for years. And Daniel had been feeding him information. Personal information. Things only someone close to me could know. "He gave him access to your bank records," Emily whispered. "And he told him about your loan application for the bakery." I felt like the air had been sucked out of the car. Why the bakery mattered. The bakery wasn't just a business for me. It was my dream, something I had worked toward for years. After Mom passed, I took the small inheritance she left and invested it into a little corner shop downtown. I poured every ounce of myself into it, the recipes, the decor, the marketing. Business was tough, but I was slowly building a loyal customer base. A few weeks earlier, I had applied for a business loan to expand. I'd told only a few people, including Daniel. And now, suddenly, Uncle Richard had somehow swooped in to buy the empty space next to mine, undercutting me in ways only possible if he knew my plans. Confrontation. I called Daniel that night. My hands shook as I waited for him to pick up. "Hey, sis," he said casually, as if nothing was wrong. "Why?" My voice cracked. "Why would you tell him about my loan? About the bakery?" There was a long pause. "It's not like that." "It's exactly like that," I snapped. "You gave him my personal information. You let him sabotage me." He sighed. "Look, I needed money, okay? Richard offered to help me out if I gave him some insight. I didn't think it would hurt you this badly." "You didn't think." My voice broke. "You sold me out, Daniel. For money." The ripple effect. News of the betrayal spread through the family quickly. Some took my side. Others said I was overreacting, that Daniel was just desperate, and that family should forgive. But forgiveness felt impossible when I was still reeling from the loss, not just of my business opportunity, but of the trust I'd placed in my own brother. Uncle Richard wasted no time. Within a month, he opened a trendy cafe next to my bakery. He had deep pockets and an aggressive marketing strategy. My sales dropped. Some of my customers were lured away by his lower prices and flashy decor. Breaking point. One rainy evening, after closing the bakery, I stood at the window watching customers line up outside Richard's cafe. My hands were sticky from washing dishes, my feet ached, and my chest felt hollow. I realized I couldn't keep going like this, not without confronting the deeper wound. So I wrote Daniel a letter. It wasn't an angry letter, though heaven knows I wanted it to be. Instead, I told him what he'd taken from me, the security of knowing my family had my back. I told him that until he understood the weight of what he'd done, I couldn't have him in my life. Rebuilding. The months that followed were hard. I worked longer hours, reached out to the community, offered free samples, hosted baking classes. Slowly, people started coming back. They weren't just buying pastries, they were rooting for me. Emily became my rock. She showed up with coffee in the mornings, helped run the register, and never once complained about the long days. I learned something in that time, that family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about the people who show up, who keep your secrets, who hold you up when you can't stand on your own. The letter back. Nearly a year after the betrayal, I received a letter in Daniel's handwriting. My heart pounded as I read it. He apologized, not the quick, defensive kind of apology I'd expected, but a raw, honest one. He admitted he'd been selfish, scared, drowning in debt. He said he'd lost more than money that day. He'd lost me. I didn't forgive him right away. Trust, once shattered, takes time to rebuild. But I didn't throw the letter away. I kept it, tucked in the back of my recipe book, as a reminder of two things: how much betrayal can cost, and how much strength it takes to survive it. The quiet victory. 2 years later, Richard's cafe closed. His flashy discounts couldn't make up for the lack of genuine connection. My bakery, on the other hand, thrived. Not because I had the most expensive coffee or the fanciest decor, but because people knew my heart was in every loaf of bread, every pie, every batch of cookies. Daniel and I eventually met for coffee, at my bakery, of course. We talked. We cried. We agreed to take things one step at a time. The wound would always be there, but maybe, just maybe, healing was possible. And in the quiet moments, when I watched customers laugh over coffee or kids press their noses against the pastry case, I knew that even when family betrayal goes too far, life can still be rebuilt, sweeter than before.